जय राधा माधव गुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जना वल्लभा गिरिवरदारी। जय गोपी जना वल्लभा गिरिवरदारी। यशोदनंदन ब्रज जनरंजना। यशोधनंदन ब्रज जनरंजना। यमुनातीरावनचारी। यमुनातीरावनचारी। जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जना वल्लभा गिरिवरदारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजना। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजना। यमुनातीरावनचारी। यमुनातीरावनचारी। जय राधा माधवा गुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधवा गुंज बिहारी। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शतस्य श्रीमद् डिवाइन ग्रेस अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत श्रील प्रभुपाद की। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवते उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। So we are reading from the 6th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, first chapter, text 40. Yamaduta uchuhu Veda pranihito dharmo ह्यधर्मस्तद्विपर्ययः वेदो नारायण साक्षात् स्वयंभूरिति शुश्रमा यमदूत ऊचुः वेद प्रणिहितो धर्मो ह्यधर्मस्तद्विपर्ययः वेदो नारायण साक्षात् स्वयंभूरिति शुश्रमा यमदूत ऊचुः वेद प्रणिहितो धर्मो ह्यधर्मस्तद्विपर्ययः वेदो नारायण साक्षात् स्वयंभूरिति शुश्रुमा वेद प्रणिहितो धर्मो ह्यधर्मस्तद्विपर्ययः वेदो नारायण साक्षात् स्वयंभूरिति शुश्रुमा Ajay, like to try? Yamaduta uchuhu Veda pranihito dharmo Yadharmastadviparyayah Veda narayana sakshat Swayambhuriti shushruma. Word to word translation. Yamaduta uchuhu. The order carriers of Yamaraj said, Veda, by the four Vedas, Sama, Yajur, Rig and Atharva, Pranihitaha, prescribed, Dharmaha, religious principles, He, indeed, Adharmaha, irreligious principles, Tat Viparyayaha, the opposite of that which is not supported by Vedic injunctions. Vedaha, the Vedas, books of knowledge, Narayana Sakshat, directly the Supreme Personality of Godhead, being the words of Narayana, Swayambhuhu, self-born, self-sufficient, appearing only from the breath of Narayana and not being learned from anyone else. Iti, thus, Shushruma, we have heard. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The Yamadutas replied, that which is prescribed in the Vedas constitutes dharma, the religious principles. And the opposite of that is irreligion. The Vedas are directly the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, and are self-born. This we have heard from Yamaraj. So before we go into purport, we'll read some and discuss. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपगदामह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वञ्चकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नम ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृन्द हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मुखं करोति वाचलं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरम् Hare Krishna. So I'd like to welcome all the devotees for today morning's Riverside Bhagavatam class. So it was always difficult to give class in Temple Hall. Now I feel it's even more difficult to give class in Vrindavan Forest in Yamuna. But we've been told. So feeling very unqualified to sit in Vrindavan Dham and speak. So this verse, we are seeing now the reply of the Yamadutas. And it's a very famous verse that is quoted because of the line Veda Narayana Sakshat. That the Vedas are actually Sakshat Bhagavan. So here the Yamadutas are saying that we have heard from Yamaraj that, you asked us what is Dharma. Whatever is in Vedas, that is Dharma. And whatever is opposed to the Vedas is Adharma. Simple as that. So in this purport, Srila Prabhupada will present 3 points which we can discuss. The first, he brings out the principle of how understanding Vedic subject matters have to be done with the mood of submission, submissive hearing. That's the first point. Second, Srila Prabhupada mentions how Dharma is non-different from Vedas, which actually originate from Vishnu. He speaks about that. And third, Srila Prabhupada brings out that the Veda Dharma, which is Sanatan Dharma, is actually Vaishnav Dharma. Okay, so followers of the Vedas, whoever follows Vedas are all Vaishnavas. Like that Prabhupada brings out the point. We'll discuss about that. Okay, so beginning of the purport, Srila Prabhupada starts. The servants of Yamaraj replied quite properly. They did not manufacture principles of religion or irreligion. They did not manufacture dharma or adharma. Instead, they explained what they had heard from the authority Yamaraj. Mahajano yena gata sapantaha. One should follow the Mahajan, the authorized person. Yamaraj is one of the 12 authorities. So there are 12 Mahajans. Therefore, the servants of Yamaraj, the Yamadutas, replied with perfect clarity when they said, Shushruma, we have heard. So Prabhupada picks up this word, last word in the shloka, Shushruma. We are speaking what we have heard, nothing we have manufactured, nothing we have created. So this verse, Mahajano Yena Gata Sapantaha, it comes in Mahabharat. It is spoken by Yudhishthir Maharaj. So, Tarko Pratishta Shruyato Vibhinna Naso Rishi Yasya Matam Na Bhinnam Dharmasya Tattvam Nihitam Guhayam Mahajano Yena Gata Sapanta. So Yudhishthira says that Dharmasya Tattvam Nihitam Guhayam. How dharma works, what is actually dharmic, is very difficult to understand. It's very intricate. But what's an easy way for all of us? Mahajano yena gata sapanta. Just follow the path of the Mahajan, the great devotees, and one can know what is to be done and what is not to be done. This is the best way. So, this humility, Prabhupada writes, is very important in understanding Veda Shastras. In Bhagavad Gita, when Srila Prabhupada writes the introduction of Bhagavad Gita, he presents that how, Prabhupada says, we should at least theoretically accept Sri Krishna as Supreme Personality of Godhead. So if you want to begin studying Bhagavad Gita, theoretically you have to accept that Krishna is Bhagavan. Else there's no point in studying Gita. And with that submissive spirit, so it's a theoretical submissive spirit, you start studying Shastras. We can understand the Bhagavad Gita. Unless one reads the Bhagavad Gita in a submissive spirit, it is very difficult to understand Bhagavad Gita because it is a great mystery. So Srila Prabhupada many times mentions so many scholars are there who study Gita, who try to understand Gita, but they never actually wanted to surrender or accept Krishna. So then what is the point in studying Gita? Isn't it? I know many years ago when one of my seniors wanted to teach Gita, so one person came and said, I want to study Gita. He said, wait, open to the back of Gita and show that, look, Krishna is God. Are you willing to accept this statement first? Then we can proceed to study Bhagavad Gita. Else everything will be, a tarka. Everything will be an argument. So this is the first premise that you have to accept to continue with the experiment. Alright? So like this, Prabhupada says we should at least theoretically accept. So that's the first point Prabhupada brings out from this word, Shushruma, in this purport. Second point, Prabhupada continues with the purport. The members of modern civilization manufacture defective religious principles through speculative concoction. This is not dharma. They do not know what is dharma and what is adharma. Therefore, as stated in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, dharma prochita kaitabatra. Dharma not supported by the Vedas is rejected from Srimad Bhagavata Dharma. Bhagavata Dharma comprises only that which is given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Bhagavata Dharma is Sarva Dharman Parityaja Mam Ekam Sharanam Braja. One must accept the authority of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and surrender to Him, and whatever He says, that is Dharma. So, the second point, no? Dharma is Vedas because they originate from Vishnu. So Prabhupada here quotes two verses. One is the beginning of Bhagavatam, Dharma prochita kaitabatra paramo nirmatsaranam satam. This Bhagavad Dharma, which removes all kinds of cheating religions. So it says, especially in this age of Kali Yuga, it is said in the 11th canto that the path of religiosity becomes covered. And people tend to become attracted to glowworms at night, especially after the rainy season. There's a lot of jignu, like glowworms. And people start following the glowworms, thinking that that is the source of light. But how long does a glowworm last? For some minutes, some seconds, disappears, appears, goes in a wrong direction. So the real source of light is lost, and people are taking after glowworms, thinking that to be the path of dharma. So Bhagavata Dharma is that pure form of dharma, the essence of the Vedas, which has thrown out all cheating religions. And then he quotes the second verse, Sarva Dharman Parityaja, Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says that give up all other forms of dharma. So there are many dharmas, many duties, right? If a person is a husband, he has pati dharma. If a person is a father, wife, so many things. With this body, we have a dharma, right? If you're a male, you have a dharma. If you're a female, you have it's all duties. But ultimately, everything else is secondary. When he says sarva dharman parityaja, means give up all other kinds of naimitic dharma and take up to the nitya dharma, which is the dharma of the soul, right? Which is Bhagavata dharma. So the point placed is that when the Lord says something, that is actually dharmic. And if it's not mentioned, that is not dharmic. Like that, the definition of what dharma is. So in the later chapters in the 6th canto, Yamaraj himself will give the definition of dharma. He says a beautiful verse. Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam navai vidur rishayo napi devaha na siddha mukya asura manushaya kuto nu vidyadara charanadaya. He says that dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. What is set forward by the Lord, that is sakshat dharma. Okay, whatever the Lord has said, that is to be dharmic. It does not matter whoever the other people are. They cannot understand or they cannot say rishis or devas or manushas. We cannot create dharma, what to be done and what not to be done. Because you see in this world, people are usually confused about dharma. Someone who there's always a morality. It's always a question, right? If someone who drinks, he says that, look, I'm drinking something vegetarian, right? He has his dharmic. If someone who smokes, he says that, whatever I'm doing it is just smoke. It's going within me only. The drinking person will say, smoking person, you kill others with your second-hand smoke. I drink alone, I don't hurt others. So everyone has morale on his own grounds, right? Famous, interesting story I used to share. Two people, one is a rapist and another is a murderer. Both went to jail, both met each other, and both started cursing each other, right? The murderer says to the rapist that you are such a horrible person. You're the worst of all people. You actually destroy people's lives. You rape them. And the rapist saying, me? You are worst. You are a murderer. At least I give people second chance to live. You end their life. And the murderer saying, what are you saying? At least I end their suffering. Because of you, they have to live with their suffering. Both sounds very true. So which is more moral than the other? Isn't it? So even among murderers and rapists, they start to talk about morality. But dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. So then Prabhupada explains, continuing the purport, he says, Arjuna, for example, thinking that violence was adharma, was declining to fight. But Krishna urged him to fight. Arjuna abided by the orders of Krishna and therefore he is actually a dharmi because the order of Krishna is dharma. So sometimes Arjuna here was one example where he thought that, the good thing to do is not to kill, which is a general thing. But when Krishna decides or Krishna wants him, that has become a dharmic war. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Vedescha sarve aham eva vedyah. The real purpose of the Vedas, knowledge, is to know me. One who knows Krishna perfectly is liberated. Prabhupada continues to quote, Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tatvatah tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mamiti sorjuna. So one who knows Krishna tatvatah, completely. This word tattvata shloka comes 5 times in different shlokas in Bhagavad Gita. So one who knows Krishna completely, right, they will never take birth again. Then Prabhupada concludes by saying, it may be concluded that dharma, religion, refers to that which is ordered in the Vedas, and adharma, irreligion, refers to that which is not supported in the Vedas. So at this juncture, we can really, really appreciate Srila Prabhupada that he came and gave a beautiful, very high standard of living for all of us. At the same time, he gave us the essence of the Vedas. We are following and practicing something which is not baseless or not divorced from the essence of the principle. So whereas we find many others or many people who may practice spirituality, but there's always a blind spot in one sense, a non-clarity kind of living because they're not connected to the Vedas. So that's the second point. How dharma means Veda Vakya, right? The Lord's speech. Now third point Prabhupada comes to say in this purport, how actually Veda Dharma is Sanatan Dharma, which is actually Vaishnav Dharma. So Prabhupada says, Dharma is not actually manufactured by Narayan. Right? Someone said that God created Dharma. God did not create Dharma. Dharma is non-different from God. They say Veda Narayana Sakshat. It's the breathing. Right? Our breath, our life air is non-different from us. Right? This what is called as Mukhya Prana. Mukhya Prana, the actual prana of our life breath, is non-different from us. It's what makes us living. So similarly, if the Vedas are the breath of Vishnu, that means the Vedas are non-different. So Prabhupada says here, Dharma is not manufactured by Narayan. Dharma is not manufactured by Narayan. As stated in the Vedas, Asya Mahato Bhutasya Nishvasitam Etat Yat Rigvedaha Iti. So he quotes this from Sridhar Swami's purport actually. The injunctions of the Dharma emanate from the breathing of Narayan. The supreme living entity. Narayana exists eternally and breathes eternally. And therefore Dharma, so Narayan exists eternally, breathes eternally. Therefore the Vedas are also eternal. Therefore Dharma or the injunctions of Narayana also exist eternally. Srila Madhvacharya, the original Acharya of those who belong to the Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, says, Vedanam pratamo vakta harir eva yato vibhu ato vishnuatmaka veda ityahur veda vadina. The transcendental words of the Vedas emanated from the mouth of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, the Vedic principles should be understood to be Vaishnava principles, because who are they coming from? Vishnu. Vishnu speaks Vedas, therefore Vedas are Vaishnava principles, because they are coming from, what comes from Vishnu is Vaishnav. Because Vishnu is the origin of the Vedas. The Vedas contain nothing besides the instructions of Vishnu, and one who follows the Vedic principles is therefore a Vaishnava. We mix it like a. The Vaishnavas are not a member of a manufactured community of this material world. So some people tend to say that Vaishnavas are a certain sect who believe in Vishnu. It's not like that. Anyone who follows Vedas will be Vaishnavas, because Vedas emanate from Vishnu. They are Vaishna, Vakta. A Vaishnava is real knower of the Vedas as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Vedescha sarve aham eva vedyaha. So this is a very interesting and powerful point that Srila Prabhupada puts out, quoting Madhvacharya. How actual followers of Vedas are followers of Vishnu. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, our Acharya in our Sampradaya, he also presents this very nicely in his book Jaiva Dharma. He calls this the Nitya Dharma. There's Nitya and Naimitika Dharma. He says the Nitya Dharma is the Dharma of the soul. He calls it Jaiva Dharma, the Jiva's Dharma, that which makes you alive, that which we are. So again, when he says Nitya Dharma or Jaiva Dharma, it is not a Dharma of some Indians or some men or some people of some state. It is every living being, meaning the living being, the Dharma of this tree, right? The Dharma of all the animals and birds flying around and insects. Jaiva Dharma, right? He calls it Vaishnava Dharma. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains there are two kinds of Vaishnava Dharma or Nitya Dharma or Jaiva Dharma. One is called as Shuddha Vaishnava Dharma and another is called as Viddha Vaishnava Dharma. Shuddha means pure, one who worships the Lord only wanting to please the Lord. Whereas there is another Dharma called Viddha Vaishnava Dharma, which appears like Vaishnava Dharma. These are people who are initiated with the Vaishnava mantra. They worship Vishnu, but they have some ulterior motives. They are tainted by two different kinds of, um, what do you say, contamination. One is known as Karma Viddha, another is known as Jnana Viddha. So the Jnana Viddha Vaishnavas are those who worship Vishnu, do mantra, puja, but ultimately they want to merge into the impersonal. So we see this, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes that India is filled with such. That people who come from Vaishnava sect, worship with the Vaishnava mantra, take Vaishnava Diksha, worship Vishnu, but the desire is for impersonalism, right? They may do Pancha Upashana puja, and they'll ask that all the devatas please bless me that I'll achieve Brahman. So this is actually a Viddha form. And a Karma Viddha Vaishnava are those Vaishnavas again, but who are very much inclined with Swargik or material opulences. They want to some enjoyment, right? So, it can be in any one of us also. It can be in, if you desire for some material enjoyment, chanting Krishna's name, worshipping Krishna, so then we fall under Viddha. Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes, in Kali Yuga, because the influence of Kali Yuga, many people cannot understand Shuddha Vaishnava Dharma and mistake Viddha Vaishnava Dharma for the real Dharma. So, a lot of times even among devotees, we don't really take it very seriously or very carefully in our devotion, that are we looking to, practice Shuddha Bhakti, meaning only to please Krishna, whatever may come to our lives does not matter. Let me just please Krishna. Or am I also looking for some frills, some thrills, right? So then it becomes Viddha Vaishnava Dharma. So in that same Jaiva Dharma, Bhaktivinoda Thakur continues and he speaks about how a person becomes a devotee. He speaks about the Nitya and Naimitika Sukritis. Nitya Sukriti, two kinds of Sukriti. Nitya Sukriti is that which makes you a devotee. You actually get Shraddha, faith, and you actually get into Satsanga. Naimitika Sukriti, which gives you some material perks. Right? So he quotes a story about a hunter. So once there was a hunter, now what do hunters do? Hunt, kill. So once there was a hunter And somehow or other, that day was Mahashivaratri. Right? So you understand where we are going from this. Right, that day was somehow or other Mahashivaratri. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives this story. And he was stuck in the forest, and somehow or other he fasted on that day, not voluntarily. And he also stayed awake because so hungry he could not sleep. Any one of you have done Nirjal, you will understand. It's very hard to fall asleep because you're very hungry, right? And after this, he actually in future attained Hari Bhakti. He attained devotion to Lord Krishna after observing a Shaiva Vrata or Shiva Vrata. He actually observed Shiva Chaturdasi, right? Oh, Mahashivratri. So here it's mentioned that actually by pleasing Lord Shiva, he became a devotee, right? Because Lord Shiva is very elevated Vaishnav. Yesterday we heard also from Sri Gaur Charan Prabhu, right? How he's actually a pure devotee. So the last class where I discussed in October, I quoted one verse from Adi Varaha Puran, where it mentions that worshipping Shiva for thousands of birth, an intelligent person actually becomes a Vaishnava after destroying all his sins. Right? So here we see how Lord Shiva is so merciful that somehow or other he has given Nitya Sukriti to a sincere person and make them into a devotee. So we are seated here in Vrindavan Dham. We know that in Vrindavan Dham there are 5 personalities who can give you Krishna Prem. Right? The first personality who can give you Krishna Prem is she who's sitting right in front of us, Yamuna Devi. By bathing in the waters, respecting the waters, worshipping her like we are doing Aarti every day, one can actually get Krishna Prem. Second great personality who can give us Krishna Prem, Krishna himself in the form of the greatest devotee Govardhan. So we also have Govardhan Aarti, Puja, Govardhan Parikrama. Just by walking around worshipping Govardhan and asking for Krishna Prem, very easily we can get. Third great personality who can give us Krishna Prem is she who's sitting in Nandagaon, that side, right? Vrinda Devi, Tulsi Maharani, she's there in expansions everywhere. Tulsi is everywhere. But as Vrinda Devi, she is also always very eager to give people Krishna Prem. Fourth great personality who can give us Krishna Prem is actually this Vraj, the dust of Vrindavan. So Krishna becomes more magnanimous. Distribution rights goes to the dust of Vrindavan. Now dust is everywhere. So one pays obeisances, touches the dust, glorifies the dust. Many devotees come to Vraja, Vrindavan, take away some little dust, right? Like when we go to Mayapur, Dham, we carry back some Mahaprasad, isn't it? That's the glory of Radha Madhav. So when we go to Vrajadam, of course from ISKCON temple and Giriraj, we carry back some Son Papadi. But actually that Mahaprasad is the Vraj, right? And many devotees, I mean, I have not experienced recent years, but those days I remember when devotees used to come, first thing they used to distribute the Vraj. Just came from Vrindavan. Please take some. It's a very common practice. And the fifth personality who can actually give Krishna Prem is Lord Shankar. Right? So Lord Shiva, Lord Shankara is so merciful. He's always eager that when will people come to this place and actually only pray for Shuddha Bhakti, only pray for Krishna Bhakti. So yesterday His Grace Sri Gauracharan Prabhu explained how Sanatan Goswami, who's sitting in Madan Mohan temple, would every day go to Gopeshwar Mahadev and take darshan and associate with him. Actually, like he said, both of them are very good friends, right, for various pastimes. Even in the old age, Sanatan Goswami would go and visit Gopeshwar Mahadev. One time, Gopeshwar Mahadev told Sanatan, because they are friends, Bas ho gaya. You're so old, you have to climb all the way, go so far and come to see me? Enough! Don't come! He says, no, 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 no. This has now become habit. Isn't it? Old people tend to say that now. When you tell them stop doing something, what they say? Aadat ho gaya, abhi nahi chutega. This has now become habit. I have to come and see you every day. So Gopeshwar Mahadev was thinking that, this is so difficult. He cannot change his habit, but so much he's walking just to see me. So Gopeshwar Mahadev said, wait, wait, wait. I will manifest myself in an area near your place called Bhan Khandi, and there you can come and see me. It's easier for you. So Gopeshwar Mahadev is so merciful. So near to the residence of Sanatan Goswami, there's this Bhan Khandi Mahadev, where Sanatan Goswami will every day go and see. So Sanatan Goswami, in his Hari Bhakti Vilas, he writes that all Vaishnavas should observe Shiva Chaturdasi. All Vaishnavas, so it's in our Vaishnava calendar. All Vaishnavas should observe Shivaratri because Lord Shiva, in whom all good qualities reside, Shiva means auspicious, right? Should be honored by the observance of this day. So yesterday we had a beautiful festival in the morning to honor Gopeshwar Mahadev. So like this, we see Gopeshwar Mahadev is actually said to be the original pure form of Shambhu. Because whoever exists in Vrindavan is actually the origin. And from Vrindavan, they all expand. So the most pure form of Lord Shiva is that Gopeshwar Mahadev. And Raghunath Das Goswami also in one of his books, he sings a beautiful prayer glorifying Gopeshwar Mahadev. Mudha Gopendrasyadmajabuja Parishringa Nidhaye Spurad Gopi Vrinder Yamiha Bhagavatam Pranibir Bhajad Bitaster Bhaktyas Vamabilasitam Praptam Achirat Yami Tire Gopeshwaram Anunidam Tam Kila Bhaje. Yami Tire, Gopeshwar Mahadev who sits near Yamuna, right? Onto him I actually pay my obeisances. So like this, the Goswami is also very fond of Mahadev. Coming back to Sanatan Goswami, in his Brihat Bhagavatamrit, 3rd chapter, he writes the story of Narada looking for the greatest devotee. Who is the actual recipient of Krishna Prem? So Narada Muni goes all over the universe and he comes to Shivaloka in the 3rd chapter of Brihat Bhagavatamrit. When he comes to Shivaloka, he sees Lord Shiva with all his associates. Nandi, Nandeshwara and all, everyone worshipping Shankarshan. And when he's seeing this, he becomes so happy. They are doing kirtan, they are dancing and chanting, Shiva and his associates. He says, Narada Muni says to Shankar that, wow, today I have found that person who is actually the recipient of Krishna's mercy. You are the greatest recipient. Shankara, Shiva was very angry. He closed his ears. He says, no, 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 no. I am not the Lord of this universe. I am just aspiring to be the servant of the servant of the servant, the dust, right, of the Lord Krishna. So Narada was shocked. What are you speaking? You are one of the Mahajan. You know Vishnu and you know Vaishnava in truth. How many times has the Lord, Sri Krishna, came in different avatars and worshipped you? How many times has Krishna, Vishnu come? Rama worshipped, right? In Rameshwar. So many times the Supreme Lord has come in different avatars and worshipped you and taken benedictions from you. How can you not say you're great? So Shiva, Lord Shiva becomes very shameful. He becomes so ashamed and angry, he closes the mouth of Narada. Enough, don't speak. He is so embarrassed he became. He said, my Lord is so great that despite of my arrogance, my offenses, he still does not reject me. That is my favor. So Narada Muni thought, my God, Shiva, you're too humble. And he starts to glorify Lord Shiva in 5 different ways. The first thing he glorifies him is saying, just see this Banasur, who was your so-called disciple. Right? Banasur had 1,000 arms and used to play. Who was your so-called disciple? Krishna wanted to kill him. Krishna was ready to take his Sudarshan Chakra to kill him. But somehow or other you came in between and took his side. Seeing that you took his side, Krishna felt merciful. Krishna says, "Theek hai." He cut all the hands and left him with 4 hands. No problem. And Krishna gave him, right, Sarupya Mukti, gave him his own form of an associate and made Banasur your eternal associate in Shivaloka. So much mercy he gave to him. Why? Because he saw you came in between. You took his side. So he thought that since he is your guy, no problem. He's my guy also. Just see. First point. Second point he says, you have given your mercy to so many demons who are inimical to Vaishnavas. There are so many people who do not like devotees, and for that they came attracted to you, but you gave their mercy and you converted them. So he gives so many. There are 7 different examples. First he gives the example of Gargya. Gargya is the son of Garga, right, who became a demon or demoniac mentality. So the story is this. This is the scene in Dwarka. So once Gargya was being teased by his family members. They say, "You eunuch." They're joking like that. And when he heard this, the Yadavas, they started laughing, 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 laughing. So Gargya became very angry with the Yadavas. "You're laughing at me?" So then he became so angry, he went and he started thinking that may I have a child, may I have a son who will actually destroy or bring terror to the Yadavas. And with that, he ate some powdered iron. He ate some powdered iron. Let this empower me that I'll have a son who will terrorize these Yadavas. You laughed at me, he was so hurt. Right? Later, one of the Yavana's kings, one of the Yavana kings actually approaches Gargya and says that I don't have child. Will you, you know, give child to our dynasty? So Gargya actually accepts one of the wives of this Yavanas, and in their union, they beget Kala Yavana. So Kala Yavan was the one who was possessing the anger of Shiva, because actually this Gargya goes and prays to Lord Mahadev. He prays to Lord Shiva that please bless me that I may get a son that will terrorize the Yadavas. So they got Kalayavan, and Kalayavan was so powerful, so formidable. But of course, we know that later, in Mathura, when he came to attack, Krishna defeated him. So that was the first so-called demoniac person, Gargya. Worshipped Mahadev. Mahadev gave him the benediction. He got a son, but everyone got liberated later. Second, he gives the story of Jayadratha. So Jayadratha was such a fiend that he wanted to kidnap Draupadi, and he did it. And then the Pandavas later came and punished him, and he was so ashamed and angry, he went and worshipped Lord Shiva. He says, "My dear Lord Shiva, please give me the boon that I'll kill the Pandavas." And Shiva said, "Cannot. This is too much. I cannot give you that boon." Then give me some boon. He says, "Okay, I'll give you such a boon like this. That, you know, whoever causes your head to fall, right, they will die and you will be rejuvenated. Therefore, even if a person kills you 1,000,000 times, they will die. You will be rejuvenated 1,000,000 times." He said, "Wow, this is very nice. Isn't it? You go fighting and someone cuts your head touches the ground. Top, you come back again and that person dies." But he says, if your own father also happened to throw your head, then you will die. So Jayadratha was thinking, father loves me, father will never throw my head. No problem. Tatasu, I accept this. So this is how Lord Shiva deals with so many demoniac people who are inimical to Vaishnavas. And so happens, you know the story, Jayadratha with Krishna. Krishna throws the Sudarshan, cuts his head. The head flies all the way, and the father is doing tarpana. He's worshipping, closing eyes in meditation, and suddenly something wet falls in his hand. Right? We all have experience, no? Suddenly walking, and suddenly you touch something wet or slithering. Then you immediately you worried, what is that, snake or something, isn't it? So he was doing tarpanam, and suddenly in the water also snake comes sometimes, obviously, right? So suddenly something wet falls in him, and he throws the head. And later he realizes that that's his son, and immediately says, "Jayadratha, you are now dead." So like that, he cheats him. Third example of another demon, Sudakshina. So Sudakshina's father was the king of Kasi, and king of Kashi one time took sides with Poundrak. Poundrak offended Vishnu, he died, and Kashi Raja was so angry, he took sides with this. Kashi Raja also was killed. The son, Sudakshina, worshipped Mahadev, worshipped Lord Shiva. He says, "My dear Lord Shiva, I want to attack this Dwarkapuri. Please give me a fiery demon." So Lord Shiva says, "Okay, okay." These people are so inimical to devotees, no? So a fiery demon appeared, went towards Dwarka. But when Lord Krishna in Dwarka raised his Sudarshan Chakra, the demon became scared and ran back to Kashi and blazed Kashi, destroyed Kashi, destroyed Sudakshina. In fact, destroyed so much that um, Baba Vishwanath, Kashi Vishwanath, who Lord Shiva himself, he had to run away. He ran away from Kashi. Right? He ran away, and first place he came to was Navadvip. He came to Navadvip and took shelter of Lord Chaitanya in a place called Harihara Kshetra. We have seen Harihara Kshetra. That is non-different from Kashi. Right? All the dhams are in Navadvip. Right? Sridham Mayapur ki. Right? So he went there. After coming to Harihara Kshetra, he went to Ekambravana, which is Bhuvaneshwar. And there he took shelter of Lord Jagannath. Like that. The fourth demon who took shelter of Shiva, which Shiva kind of gives some mercy to him, was Ravan. Right? Ravana came, he wanted to worship, he tried to carry and displace or dislodge Kailasha. Lord Krishna humbled him later. Of course, he was killed by Lord Ramachandra. That is his good fortune. The fifth demon is Vrikasur, Bhasmasur. So we know this pastime also, how Vishnu had come in between and liberated him. Sixth is of Shalva. So Shalva was also so embarrassed that he was defeated by Krishna that he went to Lord Shiva and started to pray, give me such a airship that I can fly over Dwarka and destroy Dwarka from the top. So Shiva came and Shiva said, okay. Shiva empowered Maya Danava to do the design, architect job. Okay, so this Saubha airship was created. And later Lord Krishna using his Sudarshan destroyed it. So Shalva was also killed that way. And the seventh demon, right, was this Tripura episode. Tripura was another flying city, 3 cities, and Mahadanava also designed that city. But with that city, he designed an Amrit well, where every demon who was killed from the city would fall into the well, fall into the Amrita, and again rejuvenate and come back. So they would fall down, kill and die and come back. So they were not defeated also, very difficult. So Krishna came there and Krishna took the form of a calf and went and drank the nectar from the well. He finished the well, emptied the well. So when the demons died and they fall into the well, they could not rejuvenate. They fall into a blind well. They died. Then he gave glory to Lord Shiva. He says, now Lord Shiva, you gave benediction for this, you dismantle it. So Lord Shiva destroyed this Tripura and therefore he is known as Tripurari, the enemy of Tripura. Like this, in different ways, Narada Muni is glorifying Shiva. So all these inimical people also, somehow or other, you connect them and give them some mercy. Then he continues to say that the third glorification of Lord Shiva, Chitraketu. Chitraketu criticized you. Still you never became angry. That is your glory. Then the fourth glorification, he says that Lord Krishna is so merciful unto you and your wife Durga that both of you, husband and wife, he has given you the agency of giving liberation. You can give liberation to anyone in this bhava. So bhava and bhavani both have the authorized dealership of giving liberation from material existence. Of course, we understand they go and chant the names of Rama or Krishna. That's how they give liberation. Right? So like that, after hearing all this, Lord Shiva becomes so pained in heart. He says, I'm so embarrassed. I'm so proud, thinking I'm a universal guru, Jagat Guru, thinking I'm a liberated soul, thinking that I'm the giver of liberation. I'm so ashamed. Shiva says to Narada, the truth is that I have gone against the Lord many times. Right? When the Parijat flower was taken from Indra Loka, I also came and I also fought in that way against the Lord. He said, look at me. I'm so foolish. When Aniruddha had kidnapped Usha, there also I had come to stop. Just see how foolish I am. He's saying like this. Then Lord Shiva says, of worst of all, I concoct atheistic philosophy against my Lord. How can you say I'm dear to him? So this is the form of Shankaracharya. So Lord Shiva is given the duty by the Lord himself. Padma Puran says this episode where Shiva and Parvati are discussing, and Shiva has explained to Parvati that, look, the Lord came, he gave me an assignment, I don't like it. What is the assignment? That you have to give wrong philosophy against me. And Shiva says, why? Why are you giving me all the difficult work? I don't want to do this. I want to glorify you. He said, no, you have to speak against me. That is how you will glorify me. She was very upset, right? So, actually we can appreciate, because nowadays it's very difficult. We find very few people in our society who would change their dress, change their name, and go and preach indirectly. Right? There are some devotees in our society who do that. And they become criticized by other devotees. They are not using their initiated name. They are only speaking some motivational things. They are only speaking some modern things. They are not talking about Krishna. So they get the worst end of criticism. But in one sense, Shiva is also like that. Lord Shiva has to dress not like a Vaishnava. He doesn't get to use Urdhva Pundra Tilak. He doesn't get to use Vaishnava Tilak. He has to discuss and sit and be in the association of people who are all against Vaishnava Dharma, somehow or other, just trying to do preaching to bring them a little favorable towards Krishna. It was very difficult. Baladev Vidyabhushan, in one of his writings, he mentions Lord Shiva became known as Pashupati because actually this name was as a given by Lord Krishna as a boon. Okay, so one time Lord Krishna asked Lord Shiva, ask for me any boon, and Lord Shiva thought and he said, please make me the master of beastly human beings, animal-like human beings. Let they be attracted to me. I want that seva, right? To preach to those who are animalistic. And Lord Krishna says, Tatasu, your name is Pashupati. So Pashupati is not animals. Pashupati is animal-like humans who become attracted. How tough it is. Generally, when we want to give a class, we want to preach, some people ask, are they all devotees, practicing devotees? Okay, I can speak about Chaitanya Charitamrit. I can speak about some things which, nourish us also. But to speak to someone who is totally against, some years ago, I remember, when His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj had to go to Hrishikesh and many conventions, and he would sit with people of different sects, and everyone is speaking their own philosophy and very humbly and tolerantly hearing patiently. It's not easy. If any one of us have experienced, when you have to go for functions and festivals and other people's programs, and you're sitting and you're hearing left, right, center what they're speaking, and you're thinking, my God, why did I come here? There's not one devotee in sight, right? You feel very dry. So someone who takes that service of being not in association but preaching to such personalities, they're very great. So Lord Shiva is like this. So, to change his dress, to change his name, right, to attract people to Krishna Bhakti, and he gives them in many ways. So there are people who are attracted to him, but who do not like to worship the form. Shankara says, no problem. Worship me in the form of lingam. You don't like any form worship? No problem. Take lingam worship. There's no form, there's no personality. So no problem. You can be attracted to that. Those who are attracted to gross renunciation. So Lord Shiva takes the form like an Adi Yogi, Rudra Rupa, where he sits naked, covered with different, things, skulls and all. And such people are attracted to him. So in so many ways, he creates facility for people to come and be attracted to Krishna Bhakti. It is really, how you say, thankless task that Lord Shiva has. So we have a very good fortune because we are under wonderful guidance and wonderful direction of Vaishnava Acharyas, that we understand sitting here in Vrindavan Dham, we have all facility to pray to the various forms of Lord Shiva, because the mood of a Vaishnava is that of a bhikshu, a beggar. We are begging, very eager and intense. We just want Krishna Prem. Whoever can give Krishna Prem, right, to such person we will go. And here we come to know 5 people here that can give Krishna Prem. 5 times the chances of getting Krishna's mercy in this one lifetime. So when a devotee prays to Lord Shankara, or when a devotee observes Shivaratri, it is in that mood of eagerness that, please my Lord, you are so glorious. Your glories is so much hidden that people misunderstand you. That I'm just seeking. I heard today on your day that you are extra merciful. Please shower me some blessings. Please help me to get Krishna Prem. Right? So in this way, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in one of his writings, sings a very beautiful prayer, again glorifying Gopeshwar. All the acharyas, if they glorify Shankara, they glorify Gopeshwar only, Gopeshwar Mahadev. Like I mentioned, he's the original form of Lord Shiva, the original tattva of Lord Shiva. So Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, he says this beautiful prayer. Vrindavanavani Jaya Soma Soma Maule Sanakana Sanandana Sanatana Naradedhya Gopishwara Vraja Vilasi Yugangri Padme Prema Prayacha Nirupadi Namo Namaste. So he says, Vrindavana Pate, O gatekeeper of Vrindavan. Okay, Lord Shiva, gatekeeper of Vrindavan. Jaya Soma Soma Maule. O Soma, all glories to you, on whose forehead is decorated with the moon, Soma. Sanakana, Sanak, Sanandana, Sanatana, and Narada, All these great personalities, they worship you. Gopeshwara. Desiring that you bestow onto me prema. Prema prayacha. Whose prema? Vrajavilasi Yugangri Padme. Yuga Angri. Onto the two lotus feet of they who do Vrajavilas. Who are those who are always doing Vrajavilas? Radha Madhav, Radha Krishna. Vrajavilasi Yugangri Padme. Onto the lotus feet of they who are always enjoying in Vraja. Give me prema prayacha. Nirupadi namo namaste. I want pure devotional service, not any kind of covered devotional service. Right? Again and again I offer obeisance unto you. So this is the mood that the Vaishnavas, the Gaudiya Vaishnavas carry. And in this way, again, we are very fortunate because we have so many manifestations of Lord here who are not only protecting the Dham, but for us, more than protection is we want advancement in devotional service. So that eagerness, that intensity, and desire should come within our heart. Pray to different personalities only to get one thing, which is Krishna Prem. So we like to end here. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham ki jai.